Okay, this is, some of these are out of place. Oh, we're in the Marlettes. Now we're in the Marlettes.
Mom, do you have two?
So, do you want the Marlette? Do you want the Marlette history?
Sure.
Huh?
Mom, do you have two books, one with the Croxtons and one with the Bissells?
Yeah.
Then you condensed them for us, and I don't think you put up everything in ours.
Well, if you want to know Grandma Croxton's side, this was Catherine Davis. She was an astounding woman. See that beautiful plaid skirt she's got on? She sewed every bit of it herself. She sewed all of her son's shirts, hand-stitched everything. She would get Grandma and put her at her knee and read the Bible to her all the time. Her husband died, and she raised all these children. William Henry, Melissa, James Ewing, Andrew Johnson, Marietta, Emma Amelia, Roseanne, George, Elizabeth, Joseph. Emma Amelia was mother's mother. Our grandmother. But she was an amazing woman. Once a man came to her and wanted to marry her after her husband had died, and she said, "I'm sorry, I haven't forgotten Daniel Ritchie yet." So your Daniel is picked up that nice name. That's Uncle Johnson, and this was let's see, William Henry Ritchie. Okay, some of these were written on the back. So that's one of her sons. So I bought these old pictures. This is Aunt Rose. You remember her, don't you? She was a woman she was a beautiful person, really. Nice person. She would come to visit us a lot. She liked to sit and drink tea. And
I remember her, but...
Remember she'd have these...
She was pretty old when...
she was.
When I was...
Yeah. She was old. Very sophisticated. But she was. Her husband left her, and she never respected him. But she would come in with these beautiful big flowery dresses, and nice person. This is Aunt Mary. That was the oldest of her children, Catherine Davis's children. They went across to California in this ox cart during the westward movement. And this is Ernestine, isn't it, or is it?
Catherine. Daughters of Elizabeth. This is Elizabeth.
Yeah, okay, Elizabeth Ridge, I'm sorry. And she married Joseph Sears. They had 5 children. That's Aunt Elizabeth, yes. But their marriage ended in tragedy. Joseph shot her, I think, and killed himself. I shouldn't tell you that part, but it's true. Now, Aunt Eliza, that's what they called her, it was said was a kind and pleasant lady. She wrote letters to Miriam. I have a letter that Aunt Eliza wrote to Mother, explaining to her about her own mother's illness. That would have been her sister, see. So, okay, here is my grandmother. I never got to know my grandmothers, but someday I will. This is Emma Amelia Ritchie. Here she is with her 2 oldest sons, Edwin and Eddie and Deke. Okay, they had 4 children. She married Fred Marlette, and they had 4 children. Emma Marlette was a gentle, sensitive woman. She was a religious person who read her Bible. She had lovely feminine hands. I found out all this about her.
That's your husband there.
Yes. And after her first child became ill with cholera, she and Fred nursed him, carried him in the night, did all they could, but the baby died. And Emma never quite recovered from her grief. She had 3 more healthy children, but she had poor medical care, and it affected her mind. So she was taken to a state hospital. She wrote to her son Milo and told him to take care of little Miriam. And I have a letter. I have the letter in her own hand somewhere, if I can find that thing. I've kept it carefully. This is Grandpa Fred. and this was her husband. This was in his later years. Here he is. He was a tall man, wasn't he, Bob?
Yeah, he's big.
Great
That was
big
Grandma's
hands.
dad then?
Big
Yes.
hands.
Big hands.
Grandfather.
Very, very handsome man. A charismatic person to me.
Yeah.
He never spoke unless he had something to say. And if there's anybody that in my life that has ever reminded me of Grandpa Fred, it's this man here. He never speaks unless he has something to say. And he looks for all the world like my grandfather.
That's a good thing at times,
And
yeah.
this was Grandpa Fred with his threshing machine. And there he is with Walt and Bob. This is Bob right here. And that's Walt.
See what I look like when I was a kid.
You had curly hair.
Cuter than a bug's ear.
Curly hair. This was all in home in West Point where they lived. Okay, this is a wedding picture of Fred and Amelia. Grandpa Fred. And these are the children. This is Uncle Deke. No, this is Freddie, the one that died. This is Freddie, the one that died.
Beautiful.
See the little thumb up like that? That's what Freddie did. This is Milo Johnson, Uncle Deke. This is Mother, Grandma Croxton. This is Grandma. Do you see the big bear rug? They used to put them on a bear rug when they took their picture. And this is Uncle Eddie and Uncle Deke. That would be your great uncles. And here's Uncle Deke. Very handsome man, wasn't he, Bob?
Yeah.
Deke was a very handsome man. This is Uncle Eddie. He was on a minesweeper in the North Sea. And this is Uncle Eddie and Mother. And this is Uncle Eddie with his wife, Aunt Mabel. Wasn't she outstanding, Bob?
Yeah, she was.
Bob loved Aunt Mabel. Aunt Mabel reminds me a little bit of Terry reminded me of Aunt Mabel. Terry, your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that Bob married. His second marriage.
He was always open to let people come. I mean, when our kids were little, we went to see them.
Yes. This is okay. This is Mother. This is Miriam Marlette right here. Now, from when she was 4 years old, her mother was taken away from her. So Miriam attended school through the 10th grade. That's all there was in West Point. Her teacher was Prof. Sparks. She went to the Methodist Church. She had to be resourceful since Mother was ill and far away. Once, when she tore her dress at school, she ran home, cut off the skirt, sewed another skirt from another old dress to the top, and went back to school. She cooked for Dad, made cakes, good things to eat. She had a few beaus, but Brother Milo watched over her when he wouldn't let her run off with any boys. When she was sick with typhoid, he watched and cared for her and made her take her medicine. He would say, "Here, sis, I'll take one," and then, "Here, you take one." See. When she was old enough for boyfriends, Uncle Eddie thought she should have a little more freedom. And he thought that Deke was too hard on her. But anyway, she dared not sit out in front of the house with her beau and her fancy buggy, in his fancy buggy, because Dad, Fred, would rap on the window. She had to come in. He disapproved of all boyfriends. Nobody was good enough for her, but that's another story.
She told about
We want to hear it.
Mother was good with arithmetic, but she would tell about when something would come up and she was trying to keep books for her dad, that if something was mentioned, she was working it on paper, he could figure it out quicker in his head than she could on paper. So he was good with math.
Dad was very good with math. Dad had a 6th grade education. And when I was struggling with algebra in high school, I would come home going crazy, and Dad would look at the problem and figure it out for me.